It's that time of the year again. At the beginning of every year, I take inventory of the quilts that I made in the previous year and make plans for the new year. It really helps me to look at this inventory because sometimes a lot of my quilt finishes happen at the beginning of the year. Then I start working on the bigger quilts. I take more time and effort. And sometimes it just feels like I'm not making any progress. But then when I can look at it from a wide angle perspective to see everything that I made that year, it helps me see how much progress I've made in the year. And it's a lot of fun for me to revisit the quilts that I made during the year. And I also try to decide what I'm going to be working on for the new year. So let's take a look at 2024, and then we can talk about the plans for 2025. Welcome to Quilt and Color. My name is Shalina. Okay, let's talk about the YouTube channel first. Anytime that you're watching one of my videos, you can just click on this Quilt and Color to be able to get to my homepage. And you'll be brought here to my homepage. And here on the home page, there's a video that I choose that you can watch first, in case you missed that. And then there's a For You section that YouTube decides what videos you may want to see. And then there's a video section that shows you the videos in order, in chronological order, with the most recent being first. Also, YouTube decides which ones are the most popular videos, in case you want to see a popular video. And then there's some playlists that I have created for you in case you want to see those. So you can watch one for the beginner quilter, quilts using African fabrics, the 15 minutes to quilt challenge videos. This includes both years. These are some interviews that I had with different people. There's some quilting tutorials. There's some product reviews. This is a series where I tell you the story behind each of my finished quilts. This is other inspiring discussions about quilting, some hot topics. And there's some drawing and painting videos. And this Patchwork and Quilting is anything about quilts, in case you don't want to watch any of the drawing and painting videos. And for you to be able to look at any of these, you can just click on the View Full playlist. You can either watch this video or click on the full playlist so you can watch each of those videos individually. And if you click on a playlist, it'll show you, you can choose from which video you want to watch. Also up here, you can click on here you can just see all the playlists because this is such a small section here. You can also click on this playlist. That'll give you all of the playlists, and you can decide which ones you want to see without having to tab over to see all of them. And also here on the videos, you can click on the videos and you can put them in order from the newest to the oldest, or the oldest to the newest. And you can also just click on the popular to see them in view order of the most popular videos. I'm going to start with the oldest ones. So these are the videos that I made starting with July of 2023. And we're just going to skip past those because we've talked about those in last year's videos. So this year's video started here with this 15 minutes to quilt challenge winners of the December 2023 15 minutes to quilt challenge. And then I made a video about the 2023 quilts and the exciting plans for 2024. And the video you're watching now is the updated version of this video for this year. And then there's some hot topic videos that I made. This video is part of the series where I tell you the story of the quilts that I made. This one is a project quilting challenge quilt, and I show you how I made that one from start to finish. This is another hot topic where I show you how I do manage to make the quilts in 7 days. This is another project quilting challenge where I show you from start to finish how I made this quilt. This is another project quilting challenge where I showed you how I made this quilt from start to finish in 7 days using Inktense pencils. This is a hot topic video where I work on solving one of my problems. I believe this one is where I got my design wall. And this video and this video are start to finish, where I show you how I make a quilt that has textured fabrics. This video is a quilt top that I made using the African fabrics that I bought. This one shows you how, from start to finish, how I made this red and white hourglass quilt. This one, I show you how I made the lettering for this quilt. The center of this quilt was already started, but I finished it for you in this video. This video tells you the story of my Drunkard Pat's quilts. This one, we started with the blog hop challenge, and I show you how I made this green and purple pinwheel quilt. This one is a tutorial on how to make a on-point quilt. This is an introduction to me about why I quilt. Because I was having so much fun with the 15 minutes to quilt challenge, these 3 videos are part of that, me working on this particular quilt in 15 minutes. The original plan was to make a really small quilt, but I wound up making this quilt much bigger, so it's going to be several 15-minute sessions before I can get that done. This one is part of the blog hop challenge, and I showed you how to make this quilt from start to finish. This video is one where a lot of people were making videos about how YouTube changed your life, and so I wanted to show you that. And I also showed you some of my older quilts while I was telling you the story. This is another video where I tell you my quilting journey and the life lessons that I learned with the quilts. At that time, I had 156 quilts. This one is a story of my blue and green evening stars quilt. This is another story of my quilt. This is my inspirational quote, Crazy Quilt. I plan on remaking this video because there was problems with the audio on this one. This one I show you how I made this beach picnic quilt from start to finish. And while I was binding this quilt, I just made a quick tutorial on easy hand stitches that you can use to hand sew the binding to your quilt. This is a book that I bought that I really enjoyed, so I wanted to share that with you. And then I asked AI to give me a quilt idea for a video, and it told me how to make a quilt in 5 minutes. So I decided to just go ahead and try it to see if I could do it. And you can watch a video to see whether or not I succeeded with that. And then I thought that maybe it'd be better just to give an explanation of how to make a quilt from start to finish, because I think that it's possible that some people may just want to know whether quilting is for them. And so I made this video to let them decide whether or not that was something that would be interesting to them. This one is another blog hop challenge where I showed how I made this tropical fish art quilt from start to finish. Then I made some videos about the controversy about African fabric and some frequently asked questions about African fabric that I thought would be interesting for people. This video is a tutorial on how to tell if a fabric is cotton or polyester. This one is an interview with Susan Lenz. She's a textile artist. This one is an interview with Joanne Lester, who is the head of the Stitching Sisters. And then while I was talking to Joanne, I also talked to the other quilters who were there. And it was really enjoyable to see why they quilt for cancer patients. This one is the last of the blog hop challenge. And I made this spooky skeleton gravestone quilt from start to finish. And then I received an email that I had won a sewing machine, and so I tell you the story about that on this video. In November, I combined all of my videos that I had made in the 15 Minutes to Quilt Challenge 2023. I thought it'd be easier, instead of trying to find 31 different videos, it'd be easier to look at these 3, and also to remind people of the 15 Minutes to Quilt Challenge for 2024 and to let them know what it is that they can expect from this series. This is an introduction to the challenge, and then we had the 31 days of the 15 Minutes to Quilt. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go back to a quilt again, because that way I can make more progress on the quilt without having to put it away right away. In the last video of the year, I just answered all the questions that I had received throughout the 15 Minutes to Quilt Challenge. And then this is this year's, and the last video is where I announced the winners. So I think it was a pretty good year of all the videos that I made. And if there are any videos that you would like for me to make, please be sure to let me know in the comments. This year, I think I had the most quilt starts that I ever had. I started 17 quilts, which is an amazingly big number. I think it's probably the biggest I've ever had. It's the most quilt starts that I've ever had. But I'm fine with that. I just really enjoyed quilting this year. Especially with my channel, there were some quilts that I made just for the videos. And so I wound up with 17 quilt starts. For the finishes, I wound up with 13 finishes, which probably is close to the top also. Let me show you the quilts that I finished in 2024. This is the first one I did. It's called Haven of Harmony. It's a pretty small quilt, but it has a unusual shape, which I really love. And this was made as part of the Project Quilting Challenge. And the Project Quilting Challenge is happening again this year. So you should expect to see more small quilts in the first quarter of the year. And this fabric you're going to see a lot throughout the year because I used it in several different quilts. The next quilt is called White Rabbit's Reverie. In this one I used a pair of pants that were embroidered to make the rabbit, and then I added some flowers around it that were fussy cut from a piece of fabric. Put them on the hill. Let me show you the back. This is the backing fabric. This is the one that was used for the flowers that are on the front. This one has several names, just like many of my other quilts. But I think the final name is Horse Hopes Under Inktense Sky. And that's because I used the Inktense inks. I used Inktense pencils to make the sky on this one. So here's the horse. And maybe you'll recognize the roof fabric here. That's the same as the roof fabric on the other quilt. And the backing is also the same fabric. Next one is one with textures. So I just made a heart shape, and I call this one Raggedy Heart. It was really fun to make all of these textures, and I'm planning on making other quilts with other textures as well. So my idea is basically just to come up with different words that you can use, just to come up with different adjectives that I can use, and then try to envision what that adjective would look like in fabric. And you recognize the backing fabric. This one's called Crumpled Heart, and it uses the same fabrics, a lot of the same fabrics as the Ragged Heart does. It's another quilt that has different textures in it. And I bordered it with the fringe, which I really like the look of. The next one is called Web of Life. I did not start this quilt in 2024. The center section has been waiting for a long time for me to finish it to make it into a quilt. And I just wasn't happy with the way it was turning out. But once I put it on a white background, I liked it so much better. So this one, and we made the applique for the words in a video. This one has a plain gray background. And this background is actually the original front for the quilt, and I just didn't like the gray, so I switched it out to white. This one is called Red and White Hourglass. It's not very big, but it's big for this camera. It's 3 by 4. It's got three rows and 4 columns. But this was a fun, quick quilt to make. I really like the technique of making these strip piece. And there's a video for this one as well. And here's the back. I also made a pajama doll quilt that I made for a tutorial. That one's finished. I just didn't want to take the time to look for it. But I have a bigger pajamas quilt, and I have a scraps on point quilt. And those three are kind of related to each other because they're all on point squares. This one is called April Showers. And this one was a blog hop challenge. It was a lot of fun to make. Here's the back. This one is called Beach Picnic. You can see the seagulls with the picnic. There's a sign and boats in the water and more seagulls. And the back is from another quilt that I had started, but I don't think I finished that one yet. This one is called Tropical Fish. And I really like the fun applique on it with the made up fish and the flying geese borders. And the borders that look like flying geese. Really like the bright colors on this one. Let me show you the back. This one is a 5-minute quilt. I try to see if I can make a quilt in just 5 minutes. And you'll have to watch the video to see whether I was able to do that or not. And then I also made a 5-minute tutorial for people who did not know anything about quilting. And they could just watch the 5-minute video to decide whether or not quilting is for them. And then finally, I made this Mona Lisa quilt. This is also part of the blog hop challenge. Then I have a video that shows how to make this label. I still haven't gotten a chance to sew down the last of the label, but I will be doing that today. So yeah, I was really satisfied with the number of projects that I got done. And besides the finished projects, I had other quilts that I finished to a flimsy stage. So the quilt top is finished, and that means that I can take it out of the project box, and that project box can be saved for another project. And besides that, in the month of December, I made a lot of progress on the quilts that I had put in the back burner, and so they got a chance to shine and they got a chance to make more progress, and I'm really happy with that. It makes me feel better that all those quilts that are at the back of the line got a chance to be in the front for at least 15 minutes. So at least even though they're still in the back of the line, they're at least inching forward. So let's talk about my plans for 2025. So for 2025, I plan exactly the same thing. I'll be making more quilts, more videos. There'll be lots of small quilts at the beginning of the year because the Project Quilting Challenge is still happening. And then the blog hop's not going to continue this year, but I can continue to keep making more progress on my quilts. Also, I plan on continuing the 15 minutes to stitch challenge throughout the year. I'll still make 15 minutes to sew videos. I think I'll just call it Sew With Me and put those every week. At least once a week, I'll show you a Sew With Me video. And then the rest of the videos, I plan on making more than one video a week, and I'm hoping to provide other videos and other ideas as well. There's some new quilts that I want to start. There's the fast quilts that I'm going to make in the first quarter. Project quilting quilts that I'm going to make in the first quarter will probably just be their own video instead of as 15 minutes to quilt ones. And also I have a couple other small quilts that I want to show that I decided not to show in December because I just wanted to make one video about the whole quilt rather than piecing it out to different episodes. I'm also going to make some tutorials on how to quilt, just to answer people's questions and to impart the knowledge that I have. So basically I'm just going to leave everything as flexible as I can and just see what I can do. And in order to keep my creativity flowing, I'm just going to keep everything flexible about when I'm going to do what and how often I can provide the videos to you. I'm going to continue all the series that I've already started. I have a mixed media journal that I want to show you. So I'll continue to show you paintings as I get them done, which I haven't been doing very many of them. I'm going to continue to show you things that I make that are not quilts. I'm also going to continue to tell you the stories of the quilts that I've already finished. And I'll show you how I fill out the quilt journal for those quilts. And just like 2024, I'll continue to play, experiment, make mistakes, and figure out how to get out of them. So yeah, I'm really excited about 2025. I think that 2024 was great with the amount of quilting that I got done, and I really enjoyed working on the channel. 2024 was my first full year of the YouTube channel, Quilt and Color, and I really enjoyed making all of the videos for you. This channel has been a lot of fun for me. I'm really enjoying the community that we've formed. You really inspire me to make progress on my quilts. Everybody has been so kind and helpful and warm, and it's been a great community. It's been a great year, and I really enjoyed making all of those videos. It gave me an excuse to be able to quilt more. So that was a good thing, and I managed to finish a lot of quilts, which is also a good thing. And so I'm hoping that 2025 will be more of the same. I'll make more quilts and more videos, and I hope that you'll follow me along on my journey, because I really appreciate all the support that you've been giving me so far. And I hope that 2025 continues to be just as good, if not better. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I hope to see you in the next video.